Hey boys and girls, it's Miss W. Our book today is The Noisy Foxes. Our author and illustrator is Amy Husband, and our book is published by Imagine That. Now on the cover I can see there are 3 foxes here, and it looks like they might be doing some things that create a lot of noise. Looks like he's banging together a couple of lids from a bin. This fox here looks like it's singing. And this fox over here looks like she might be using a stick and some glass bottles. Oh goodness, let's find out together.
The Noisy Foxes. In a very noisy house, in a very noisy city, lived 3 noisy foxes. Looks like this city might be very busy. They spent all day being very noisy, mixing, fixing, hopping and bopping, banging and clanging. Wouldn't it be nice to be quiet sometimes? Asked fox number 1. Perhaps we should move to the countryside, suggested fox number 2. What a good idea, replied fox number 3. Oh, I wonder if they're going to fit into the quiet countryside. So they packed up all of their very noisy things and caught the very noisy bus to find a place in the very quiet countryside. There we can see the foxes with all of their belongings on top of the bus. In a very quiet wood, in the very quiet countryside, they met an owl. Twit-twoo! Who are you? Hooted the owl. We are from the very noisy city, looking for a quiet place to live, replied fox number 1. Where do you live, owl? Where do you think the owl might live? So tall up in that tree. Looks like there might be another creature down here who hasn't said anything yet. I live up here, at the top of this very tall, quiet tree, the owl said. Oh yes, it is very quiet, but it is too high for us, said fox number 1. We're scared. Oh dear, they don't look very happy to be up that high. Next, in a very quiet meadow, in the very quiet countryside, the noisy foxes met a mole who popped up out of the ground. Hello, mole. We are from the noisy city, looking for a quiet place to live. Can you help us? Asked fox number 2. Oh, yes. I live in a very quiet place, replied the mole. Follow me, and I'll show you. Looks like they're following the mole down a tunnel. Wonder where this will lead. I live here, in this very quiet hole underground, said the mole. Oh, yes, it is very quiet, but it is too dark for us, said fox number 2. We can't see. And I'm stuck. Oh, I don't think foxes are made to come down such a skinny tunnel. In a very quiet clearing, in the very quiet countryside, the noisy foxes met a frog. Ribbit, ribbit, what do you 3 noisy foxes want? The frog asked. We are looking for a quiet place to live, said fox number 3. Where do you live, frog? Come with me and I'll show you, replied the frog. I wonder where the frog lives. I live here, in this very quiet pond, said the frog. Oh yes, it is very quiet indeed. But it's too wet for us, said fox number 3, and we can't swim. Oh, I wonder what the foxes are going to do. Are they going to find a home? So the three noisy foxes kept searching for a very, very long time, and they ended up in the very quietest part of the countryside, a long, long way from the very noisy city. As they ventured along the very quiet path, they met a badger. "Hello, Badger. We are looking for a quiet place to live," said the noisy foxes. "Can you help us? We have looked everywhere." "Yes, of course. Follow me," replied the badger. "I wonder where they're taking them." "This is where I live," said the badger. "It is the quietest place in all of the countryside." "Oh, yes, it is very quiet and very lovely. It might just be the perfect place," said the noisy foxes. "But it's just too quiet." Oh, doesn't sound like these foxes know what they want. Looks like our character who didn't say anything before is back. The noisy foxes were really fed up with being quiet, so they started to make some noise. As they banged and clanged and chittered and chattered, a quiet little mouse scurried up to them. "What is all this noise about?" asked the quiet little mouse. "We need a place to live, but it can't be too high, it can't be too dark, it can't be too wet, and it definitely can't be too quiet," replied the noisy foxes. "I know the perfect place," squeaked the mouse. "Follow me." Oh, where's the mouse going to take them this time? Oh, there the foxes are following the mouse. They're saying goodbye to the badger. They're saying goodbye to the frog. They're saying goodbye to the mole and goodbye to the owl. Oh dear, and it looks like they're back on a bus with the mouse. Where is this leading back to? Well done, little mouse. This really is the perfect place. The mouse has taken them back to their house in the city where they belong. Oh, there's no place like home. The end.